You know, in the world of AI, the race has always felt like it's about getting bigger, right? More data, more parameters, just more power. But today, we're diving into a new model from Alibaba that is completely flipping that script. It's proving that maybe, just maybe, less is actually way, way more.
And that really brings us to the big mystery here, the question that has everyone kind of scratching their heads. How on earth do you take a massive, powerful AI model and not just shrink it by more than two-thirds, but somehow make it better? We're talking powerful enough to step into the ring with the absolute giants. You know, your OpenAIs, your Googles. That right there is the whole paradox of QWEN 2.0.
All right, so let's get into it. Let's break down this whole contradiction. How in the world did this thing get smaller, faster, and stronger all the same time?
Okay, first off, the sheer scale of this change is just staggering. I mean, the original model was a total heavyweight, clocking in at 20 billion parameters. The new version, it's a super lean 7 billion. That is a huge drop in complexity and just raw computational weight.
But, and this is the crazy part, here's the real twist. Even though it shed all that weight, its native output resolution actually went up. It now spits out these super crisp 2K images. That's 2048 by 2048 pixels right out of the box. So think about that. It's smaller, but it's seeing the world in higher definition. How does that work?
Well, the answer to this whole puzzle is this really brilliant piece of engineering that the developers are calling the grand unification. And really, it's all about choosing elegant design over just brute force. See, the old model, version 1, was kind of like a Frankenstein's monster, honestly. It had these three huge separate parts all bolted together. You had a text encoder to figure out your prompt, then this super complex VAE to deal with the visual stuff, and then a sprawling 60-layered diffusion system to actually, build the image. It worked, sure, it was powerful, but man, was it clunky and inefficient. The new way, though? Totally different. QWEN 2.0 takes all of that and merges into one single, streamlined, unified system. What this means is it can generate an image from your text prompt and then edit that same image without ever having to switch pipelines or, change gears. It's just a massive, massive leap forward in efficiency. But being efficient isn't its only trick, not by a long shot. This model has a secret weapon, a kind of signature move that really puts it in a class all by itself. And that secret weapon is its absolutely incredible ability to render text inside an image. And hey, don't just take my word for it. The developer community has been going nuts with feedback like this quote here, calling it literally unchallenged at this stuff. And you have to understand, getting an AI to write coherent, well-placed text inside an image is notoriously incredibly difficult. And the hard data? It backs us up big time. Look at the Chinese word benchmark. Even the previous version of this model, not even the new one, scored a whopping 61% higher than OpenAI's best shot. I mean, it's not just a little bit better, it is in a completely different league. And just to give you a sense of the kind of precision we're talking about here, it can actually reproduce specific historical styles of Chinese calligraphy. For instance, Emperor Huizong's famous slender gold script. Now, that is a level of artistic and linguistic nuance that, frankly, no Western model right now can even touch. Okay, so with this crazy unique skill set, how does our little 7 billion parameter challenger actually stack up against the reigning titans of the AI world? Let's get into the showdown. And when you look at the broader benchmarks, the story just keeps going. I mean, even its predecessor, the V1 model you see here, was already dominating, claiming top spots in all sorts of public tests. It was outperforming major competitors on things like general quality and long text generation. But okay, automated benchmarks, they're one thing, right? The real test is always what humans actually prefer. And this brings up a really important question. When we're looking at these human-ranked leaderboards, who's actually the referee here? Who's running the show? And this is where we have to add a little asterisk, a critical caveat. The main platform where QWEN 2.0 gets its really impressive third-place ranking, it's called the AI Arena. Well, it's actually operated by Alibaba, its own creator. Now, they say the tests are blind, and that's fair, but it is a potential conflict of interest that you just have to keep in mind for a balanced picture. All right, so let's move past the lab tests and the official leaderboards for a second.
what's happening when this model gets out into the real world? What are actual users saying about it?
Well, on one hand, the hype is absolutely real. You've got respected AI newsletters like Latent Space getting super enthusiastic, basically predicting that we're on the verge of having an open source model with the power of something like Google's best, but packed into a tiny 7B size.
But on the other hand, the reality on the ground seems a bit more nuanced. Other reviewers, while they praise the potential, are kind of framing it as a great research toy. Something cool to play with, but not yet a polished professional tool that's going to replace the big commercial players. And users have definitely found some quirks, some very specific flaws. Ironically, for an AI that's a master of text, it apparently has trouble spelling its own name sometimes. Other reported issues, you get inconsistent faces from one generation to the next. There's this weird tendency for it to make everyone look like they're about 35 years old. And yeah, the raw outputs can sometimes have warped faces or clipped limbs. They can be a little messy. So, okay, despite these growing pains, why is the 7 billion parameter model still making such huge waves? What does it really mean for the future of AI? Well, it's because this one model really sits at the intersection of three huge trends happening right now. First, this idea of unification, generation, and editing becoming one seamless thing. Second, the competition. It's undeniable now that Chinese AI labs are direct, serious rivals to the Western incumbents. And third, differentiation. High-quality text rendering is suddenly the new frontier, the new thing to be good at.
So the message here is crystal clear. QWEN Image 2.0 is basically shouting to the entire industry that you do not need to be the biggest model to be one of the best. It's proving that a clever, elegant architecture and really specialized skills can let a smaller, more efficient model step into the ring and compete with, and yeah, in some cases actually beat, systems that are many, many times its size.
And that just leaves us with one last really fascinating question to think about. As we move forward, maybe the big race isn't about building the biggest AI anymore. Maybe it's about building the smartest AI. Is the future going to be defined not by sheer size, but by skill,